Chosen one, heaven just broke protocol. What I'm about to reveal has never been released before this exact moment. If you're hearing my voice right now, this is not coincidence. This is divine interception. God is speaking your name in rooms you've never entered. And the 1st of August, that wasn't just another date on your calendar. That was heaven's confirmation stamp pressed into eternity with your spiritual DNA. Listen to me carefully. You were loyal to people who secretly prayed you would stay broken. You carried their secrets, absorbed their poison, and smiled through their betrayals. They used your light to navigate their darkness, then discarded you like a dead battery. But here's what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, what drove them insane with jealousy. You were the secret weapon everyone discarded because they couldn't manipulate it. They mocked your slowness, called you delayed, damaged, dramatic, but they had no idea heaven was rewinding time for a divine reset. While they were sprinting toward their destruction, God was calibrating your destiny for something unprecedented. Your tears were time-stamped, beloved. Every drop catalogued, every betrayal documented, every sleepless night when you whispered, "God, do you even see me?" He was marking you for this very hour. The 1st of August was heaven's reply. You thought rejection meant disqualification, but God was securing you in a vault. When they left, heaven whispered, "Good, now I can begin." Everything they thought was your ending was just a divine disguise. The abandonment, that was the announcement. The isolation, that was incubation. The betrayal, that was preparation for your elevation. Right now, in this sacred moment, your spiritual atmosphere is shifting. The same people who tried to bury you are about to witness your resurrection, not because you fought back, but because heaven fought for you. Your name has become a portal, your presence carries voltage, your shadow is soaked in holy oil. If your whole life felt like a delay wrapped in betrayal, if every relationship felt like a setup for heartbreak, if you've been asking God for just one sign that He hasn't forgotten you, this is it. Type 777 the comments right now. Not as a ritual, but as a recognition. You're declaring, "I've been marked." To everyone who's supported this message through prayer, presence, or giving, you're not just helping a channel reach people. You're helping heaven reach someone in the dark who's been asking for this exact word. Now breathe deep, chosen one. Stay close. Because what you're about to hear has the power to rewrite everything they said was your ending. This is just the beginning. Have you ever wondered why your deepest pain came wrapped in silence? Why the people who promised to stay were the first ones to disappear when your light got too bright for their comfort? Have you ever asked yourself in those 3 a.m. moments when sleep felt like a stranger, why God allowed you to be abandoned by the very ones He placed in your path? Listen to me, chosen one. What if I told you that every door that slammed in your face was actually heaven's way of clearing the stage? You've been carrying this weight, haven't you? The weight of being the one who loved too deeply, the one who gave too freely, the one who stayed loyal to people who were already planning their exit strategy. You were the fire carrier in a world built for ice, the truth teller in rooms full of professional liars, the light bearer in spaces designed for shadows. They called you too much, too sensitive, too deep, too spiritual, too everything they could never be. You thought rejection meant disqualification. But beloved, let me tell you what heaven was really doing. When your mother chose her addiction over your childhood, God whispered, "I'm about to raise a healer." When your spouse walked away from 20 years of marriage, heaven declared, "Now I can teach you how to love yourself." When your children turned their backs on the values you bled to instill, the Father said, "Good, now they'll see my glory through your grace." You thought you were being abandoned, but heaven was securing you in a vault. Isaiah 49:16 says, "See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands." Not written, not noted, engraved, carved so deep that even when God closes His fist, your name is still visible. You were never forgotten, chosen one. You were being preserved. When they left, God whispered, "Good, now I can begin." Every betrayal was a divine redirection. Every rejection was heaven's protection. Every abandonment was an announcement that you were being prepared for something they could never understand, never access, never contaminate with their limitations. You see, the enemy knows something about you that you're just beginning to remember. He knows that your destiny is so dangerous to his kingdom that he had to use the people closest to you to try to abort it. The spiritual trauma stored in your body, that crushing weight in your chest, that constant ache in your soul, that feeling of being perpetually misunderstood, it's all being reversed right now. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your cellular memory is being rewritten. The abandonment wounds that have been feeding fear are being transformed into portals of power. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit? That's not anxiety, beloved. That's anticipation. Heaven is shifting the atmosphere around you because the 1st of August marked the end of your preparation season. But here's what the enemy feared most, and here's what your betrayers never saw coming. They didn't ghost you. God hid you for such a time as the 1st of August. You've been in divine incubation. While they were busy building their temporary kingdoms, heaven was developing your eternal assignment. While they were networking in circles that exclude you, God was connecting you to dimensions they can't even imagine. The isolation wasn't punishment, it was protection. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was sacred, sequestering. Every no you received was heaven's way of saying, not them, not now. Not until you're ready to walk in the fullness of who I've called you to be. What if the delay wasn't rejection but divine incubation? What if your silence was sacred, not accidental? What if every person who walked away was actually clearing space for heaven to walk in? The loneliness you've endured has been rewiring your capacity for intimacy with the divine. The betrayals have been building your immunity to people-pleasing. The abandonment has been expanding your ability to receive love from the only source that never runs dry. You thought you were being left behind, but you were being set apart. There's a scientific principle called isolation breeding. When you isolate the strongest specimen, it doesn't weaken, it purifies. It develops characteristics that can only emerge in solitude. It becomes resistant to contamination. It grows stronger, clearer, more focused. That's what heaven has been doing with you. Your DNA has been shifting during this season of apparent abandonment. Your spiritual immune system has been strengthening. Your prophetic senses have been sharpening. Your ability to discern truth from manipulation has been crystallizing. The people who left you thought they were punishing you, but they were actually preparing you. Every night you cried alone was heaven downloading new levels of compassion. Every holiday you spent in solitude was God teaching you how to celebrate your own company. Every birthday that passed without fanfare was the Father whispering, your real celebration is coming, and it will be witnessed by nations. You've been asking God why He allowed you to be abandoned by people who claimed to love you. Here's your answer, chosen one. Because He loved you too much to let you settle for their counterfeit affection when He had authentic love waiting for you. The abandonment was the announcement. Heaven was declaring, this one is mine, this one is marked. This one is being prepared for an assignment that requires complete dependence on my voice alone. If you know you were hidden for a holy reason, if you can feel in your bones that every person who walked away was making room for something greater, declare this right now. I wasn't rejected, I was reserved. Say it again, beloved. Let it sink into the marrow of your bones. I wasn't rejected, I was reserved. Because what's about to unfold in your life will require every ounce of the strength you built in solitude, every drop of the wisdom you gained in silence, every fragment of the faith you forged in the fire of abandonment. The stage has been cleared. The distractions have been removed. The counterfeit supporters have been exposed and eliminated. Now comes the part they never saw coming, your emergence from the vault of divine preparation, carrying gifts they couldn't contaminate, wisdom they couldn't corrupt, and power they couldn't manipulate. But before we talk about what's coming next, there's something else you need to understand about the timing of your trials. Why were you always last? Why did love find everyone else first while you waited in the shadows, watching their celebrations from the outside? Why did your breakthrough take decades while others seemed to stumble into their destiny before they could even spell it? You've carried this question like a stone in your chest, haven't you? Every birthday that passed without the promise, every anniversary of dreams deferred, every time you watched someone younger, less experienced, less faithful walk through doors that remained locked to you. You thought you were broken, cursed, forgotten. But what if I told you that every delay was deliberate? That heaven wasn't ignoring your timeline, heaven was rewriting it. Listen to me, chosen one. You were the one carrying fire in a world built for ice. While others rushed toward their temporary victories, God was slow cooking your destiny in the furnace of his timing. You weren't delayed, you were developed. Your late arrival wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Think about it. Every person who got there fast also burned out fast. Every relationship that came easy also left easy. Every door that opened without resistance also closed without warning. But you were being seasoned, tempered, forged. Isaiah 43:1 whispers your name right now. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, you are mine. He called you by name before you were born, but he called you by destiny after you were refined. The loneliness wasn't abandonment, it was apprenticeship. Every silent night when you wondered if anyone saw you, God was teaching you to see yourself. Every relationship that didn't work out was heaven saying, not yet. You're not ready for what I'm preparing to give you. Your slowness was sacred. While the world operates on deadlines, heaven operates on kairos, divine timing that transcends human calendars. You've been living in chronos time, checking your watch, counting years, measuring your worth by the speed of your success. But God has been orchestrating your life in kairos time, where every delay serves a purpose, every detour leads to destiny, and every no is actually a redirection toward a greater yes. You kept asking why everything took longer for you, why you were late to love, late to purpose, late to peace. You watched others sprint past you on the track of life while you felt like you were crawling through spiritual quicksand. But here's what you couldn't see from ground level. While they were running in circles, you were climbing stairs. While they were moving fast, you were moving deep. While they were collecting experiences, you were collecting wisdom. The delay didn't disqualify you, it upgraded your destiny to a higher dimension. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That shift in the atmosphere around your life, that's not your imagination. That's the sound of heaven's gears turning. The 1st of August wasn't just another date. It was the moment God stamped ready on your spiritual passport. You see, there are two types of chosen ones in this world: the quick release and the slow burn. The quick release get immediate gratification but limited impact. The slow burn endure, extended preparation, but deliver eternal influence. You, beloved, are slow burn chosen. God delayed you because what he's preparing to do through you couldn't be rushed. You needed every year of waiting to build the spiritual muscle to carry what's coming. You needed every disappointment to develop the discernment, to recognize the real thing when it arrives. You needed every betrayal to build immunity against fake love. You needed every financial struggle to develop gratitude for true provision. You needed every health scare to appreciate the miracle of each new morning. The world told you that delay meant denial, but heaven was developing you in dimensions the world couldn't see. While your peers were gathering shallow victories, you were growing deep roots. While they were building wide networks, you were building strong character. Your slowdown was sacred. The 1st of August unlocks the reason. That date wasn't random. It was the divine timestamp when heaven shifted your life from development to deployment, from preparation to manifestation, from delay to divine acceleration. Everything you thought was taking too long was actually taking exactly as long as it needed to. Your timeline wasn't behind, it was precise. God doesn't work with rough drafts. When he releases you, it's the finished product. And you, chosen one, are about to be released. The same patience that felt like torture was actually training. The same isolation that felt like punishment was actually protection. The same delay that felt like denial was actually divine incubation. You've been in the womb of God's timing, and the 1st of August was your spiritual birth announcement. Think about diamonds. They don't form overnight. They require millions of years of pressure, heat, and darkness before they emerge as the most precious stones on earth. The longer the process, the more valuable the result. You are God's diamond. The pressure you endured wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to make you unbreakable. The heat you felt wasn't meant to destroy you, it was meant to purify you. The darkness you walked through wasn't meant to hide you, it was meant to develop you in secret until your revelation moment arrived. And that moment is now. Your delay was divine design, your slowness was sacred strategy, your timeline was heaven's timeline, and it's been perfect all along. Every person who got what you wanted faster also lost it faster. Every door that opened for others without struggle also closed for them without warning. But what God gives you after this season of development, no one can take it, break it, or fake it. If you feel heaven shifting your timeline right now, if you sense something turning in the spiritual realm, if you can almost taste the change that's coming, whisper back to heaven, I surrender to divine delay. Because delay wasn't your enemy. Delay was your education. And now that your education is complete, your elevation begins. But there's something else you need to understand about the mark God placed on you. Have you ever stared at your hands in the darkness, wondering if they were made for more than holding pain? Have you ever felt something stirring beneath your skin, something ancient, something carved by eternity itself? Tonight, I need you to look at your left hand, not with your eyes, with your spirit. You've been carrying proof your whole life, evidence of a covenant you never remembered signing, a mark so sacred, so deeply embedded in your spiritual DNA that every demon in hell knows your signature, but you've forgotten your own power. You were the one who carried fire in a world built for ice, the one who felt everything too deeply in a culture that rewarded numbness. They called you sensitive, dramatic, too much. But what they couldn't see, what drove them to exhaustion trying to understand you, was that you were walking around with heaven's fingerprints on your soul. Listen to me, chosen one. You weren't born broken, you were born marked. Isaiah 49:16 declares with divine authority, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands, not written, not penciled in, engraved. Carved deep enough that even when God's hands move mountains, your name doesn't fade. But here's what the religious world never told you. God didn't just engrave you on his palms, he engraved himself on yours. That restless energy in your left hand when you pray, that's not nervousness. That's recognition. Your palm is responding to its original blueprint, the one heaven drew before time began. You've spent decades thinking something was wrong with you. The way opportunities slipped through your fingers, the way time seemed to move differently for you than everyone else. The way you aged in some seasons and reversed in others, like your body was listening to a clock that ran on eternity instead of earth. But what if I told you that wasn't dysfunction? What if that was design? Your left hand carries the frequency of divine timing. When you touch things, really touch them with intention, time bends. Doors that should take years to open crack in moments. Healing that should take months happens in minutes. Hearts that were stone for decades suddenly soften under your influence. They called you slow, but heaven was calibrating you for acceleration that would make their heads spin. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That slight warmth, that subtle electricity running through your left palm. That's not circulation, that's confirmation. Every nerve ending in that hand is wired to heaven's frequency. The mark isn't visible to natural eyes because it operates in spiritual dimensions, but it's magnetic. Doors feel it before you even knock. Opportunities orbit around you like planets around the sun. Wealth doesn't just come to you, it's drawn to you by a force they can't measure in banks or boardrooms. This is why your presence changes atmospheres, why some people get nervous around you for no logical reason, why others feel inexplicably safe. Your left hand is broadcasting a signal that bypasses the mind and speaks directly to the spirit. You've been marked not for memories, beloved. You've been marked for movement. Remember that time you touched someone in pain and they felt immediate relief? That wasn't coincidence. That was your covenant in action. Remember when you laid hands on that situation everyone called impossible and it shifted overnight? That wasn't luck. That was your left hand speaking heaven's language. But here's where this gets dangerous for the kingdom of darkness. The mark isn't just for blessing, it's for authority. When you place that hand on things that resist God's will, sickness, poverty, depression, addiction, they don't just submit, they surrender. This is why the enemy worked so hard to convince you that you were powerless. Why he whispered lies about your delay, your struggles, your apparent disadvantages. He could see the mark. He knew what was coming. Every attack was an attempt to make you forget what's written on your palm. But marks don't fade, chosen one, especially not the ones heaven engraves. The acceleration you're about to experience isn't just personal, it's generational. That mark on your left hand carries the power to rewrite family curses, to reverse genetic patterns, to break cycles that have run for decades. When you touch your children, your grandchildren, even your friends, you're transferring more than affection. You're downloading destiny. Time bows to you because eternity recognizes its own signature. Think about it. How many times have you been late to something, only to discover that your lateness was perfect timing? How many times have you been early to things that others missed entirely? Your internal clock isn't broken. It's been synchronized to heaven's rhythm. The mark makes you a walking intersection between time and eternity. Past, present, and future converge in your presence. This is why some conversations with you feel prophetic. Why your prayers seem to reach backwards and heal old wounds, while simultaneously opening future doors. You've been frustrated by your inability to fit into the world's timeline. But what if I told you that wasn't your assignment? What if you were never supposed to run their race, but instead create a new lane entirely? The mark on your left hand is calling you out of chronological time and into chronos time, God's perfect timing where every second carries the weight of eternity. Touch your left hand right now. Feel the warmth. That's not skin, beloved. That's heaven's covenant made visible. You're not just holding flesh and bone. You're holding authority that makes demons tremble and angels stand at attention. Say it out loud. Chosen one, I am sealed for this hour. Feel how those words resonate through your chest, down your arm, and into that sacred palm. Your left hand just received its activation code. But here's what they never saw coming. The same hand that carries heaven's mark also carries heaven's timing. And your timing, your moment, your season of unstoppable breakthrough, it's not coming tomorrow or next year. It's already here. Have you ever wondered why their words cut so deep? Why every insult felt like a blade designed specifically for your soul? Why their laughter echoed in your mind long after the room went silent? What if I told you those weren't random attacks, but spiritual reconnaissance? You see, chosen one, they called you lazy when you were learning to move in divine timing. They called you broken when God was breaking you open to pour in His glory. They whispered dramatic when your spirit was rehearsing for the greatest comeback story heaven ever wrote. But here's what they couldn't see, what drove them absolutely insane. You were incubating divine codes they couldn't read. While they were celebrating their surface-level victories, you were downloading blueprints from eternity. While they were building kingdoms on quicksand, God was installing unshakable foundations in your spirit. Every silent night when you questioned your worth, heaven was calibrating your frequency for a frequency they could never access. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Isaiah 55:8. They operated on earthly bandwidth, but you were being tuned to heaven's frequency. And he that has no spiritual frequency can't recognize heaven's frequency. Listen carefully, beloved. Their mockery wasn't random cruelty, it was prophetic camouflage. Every time they called you too slow, God was actually slowing down time around you. Every time they said you were falling behind, heaven was pulling you out of their race toward destruction. Every time they labeled you different, the Almighty was confirming your divine DNA. They saw delay, God saw development. They saw weakness, God saw preparation. They saw failure, God saw incubation. You were the eagle they kept trying to judge by how well you swam. You were the diamond they kept treating like common stone. You were the prophet they kept expecting to perform like a circus act. But prophets don't perform, they prepare. Close your eyes for just a moment. Can you feel it? That stirring deep in your bones? That's not anxiety, beloved. That's activation. What if the very traits they mocked were the exact qualities heaven needed for your assignment? What if your sensitivity, the thing they called weakness, was actually your superpower to feel the heartbeat of the broken? What if your slowness was God teaching you to move in His rhythm, not the world's frantic pace? What if your silence, the thing that made them call you weird, was you learning the language of heaven? Here's what's about to shock you. They thought they buried you, but they didn't know you were the seed. And August is the harvest. Every insult was fertilizer. Every rejection was irrigation. Every betrayal was breaking up the hard ground around your destiny. They weren't destroying you, they were unknowingly preparing the soil for your emergence. You see, chosen one, seeds don't look like trees, butterflies don't start as butterflies, and prophets don't always look prophetic in their preparation phase. But something shifted on the 1st of August, didn't it? Something in the atmosphere changed. Something in your spirit straightened up. Something in your reflection looked different. That wasn't coincidence. That was confirmation. Heaven looked down and said, "The incubation period is over. It's time for the revelation." The same voices that tried to convince you that you were nothing are about to witness everything. The same people who wrote you off are about to read your comeback story. The same ones who buried you with their words are about to watch you bloom from the very ground they thought was your grave. But here's the most beautiful part. You're not blooming for their applause. You're blooming because it's harvest time. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30:5. Well, beloved, morning just broke, and your joy isn't just coming, it's erupting. Every tear you cried in silence was a seed planted in sacred soil. Every prayer you whispered in the dark was a conversation with the God who sees in the dark. Every moment you almost gave up but didn't was you choosing to trust the process you couldn't see. Their mockery was never about you. It was about them trying to silence what they sensed but couldn't understand. They felt your potential like an earthquake in their spirit, and they tried to bury it with criticism. But you can't bury what heaven has marked for harvest. If the insults almost broke you, but didn't, if their words cut deep, but couldn't kill the dream, if their rejection hurt, but couldn't destroy your hope, then declare this with me right now. My silence was sacred. My bloom is now. Say it again, chosen one. Let it reverberate through every room that ever underestimated you. Let it echo through every heart that ever misunderstood you. My silence was sacred. My bloom is now. Because what's about to unfold in your life will make their mockery look like prophecy. They'll realize they weren't insulting you, they were announcing you. The seed they thought they buried is about to become the tree that provides shade for the very people who tried to kill it. But before God releases you into your full bloom, there's one more truth you need to understand about the timeline. Heaven has been weaving around your life. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered when the light left your eyes? When did the weight settle so deep in your bones that even rest couldn't lift it? When did survival become so heavy that it carved lines on your face like a roadmap of every battle you fought alone? You've been carrying something that was never meant to be yours. The gray threading through your hair, that's not time. That's trauma. The stoop in your shoulders, that's not age. That's the weight of holding up a world that kept collapsing around you. The dimness in your gaze, that's not years passing. That's the light being slowly drained by people who took and took until you forgot you were supposed to shine. You were the lighthouse keeper in everyone else's storm, standing steady while hurricane-force winds of betrayal, abandonment, and rejection tried to topple you. You held your post. You kept the light burning. But nobody ever asked what it cost you. It cost you your youth, not the number of birthdays, the fire in your spirit, the bounce in your step, the quick laugh that used to bubble up without permission. You aged not because the earth circled the sun, but because you absorbed the darkness meant for others. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5. God didn't create you to be a shock absorber for broken people. He formed you to be a conductor of His light. But somewhere along the way, You forgot the difference between carrying others and being buried by them. What if I told you that every year the trauma stole from you? Heaven has been keeping in a vault. What if the weariness you wear like a second skin is about to be peeled away like old paint? What if your body, which has been listening to the frequency of survival for so long, is finally ready to tune into the frequency of restoration? Right now, in this very moment, your cellular structure is responding to something beyond human medicine. Your DNA is remembering its original blueprint, the one written before the first betrayal, before the first abandonment, before the first time someone made you feel like your love was too much and your presence was too little. Close your eyes. Can you feel it? That subtle shift in your chest. That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. Your body recognizing that the season of carrying what wasn't yours is over. Your soul is sending new signals to your flesh. It's safe to be young again. It's safe to laugh without looking over your shoulder. It's safe to dream without bracing for disappointment. The tiredness that's been your constant companion, it's lifting, like fog burning off at sunrise. The grayness that settled over your complexion, it's brightening, like color returning to a black and white photograph. The dimness in your eyes, it's clearing, like windows being washed after years of dust. This isn't wishful thinking, this is divine reversal. Your body has been holding grief in your muscles, storing rejection in your joints, hoarding disappointment in your organs. But heaven is issuing a new command to every cell. Release what was never meant to stay. Receive what was always meant to flow. You're not getting older, you're getting clearer. The lines on your face, they're not aging. They're maps of where God met you in the wilderness. The silver in your hair, that's not time passing. That's wisdom crystallizing. The depth in your voice, that's not weariness. That's authority earned through fire. But the heaviness, the bone-deep exhaustion, the feeling like you're dragging invisible chains, that's being lifted right now. What if your body could remember what it felt like to move without pain? What if your mind could recall what it was like to rest without racing thoughts? What if your heart could beat without the constant background hum of hypervigilance? It's remembering now. Every breath you take is washing decades of stored trauma from your bloodstream. Every heartbeat is pumping new life through arteries that learned to expect poison. Every thought is being rewired from survival mode to thriving mode. Your nervous system is downshifting from red alert to green light. Your adrenals are learning to rest instead of race. Your muscles are releasing tension they've held since you first learned that love could be weaponized against you. This is what resurrection looks like in real time. Not just spiritual, physical, emotional, cellular. You're not imagining the energy returning to your step. You're not imagining the clarity returning to your thoughts. You're not imagining the hope returning to your dreams. The weight you've carried, the invisible load that made you feel decades older than your years, it's being redistributed, not to others, to heaven, where it was always meant to go. You were never designed to be Atlas, holding up everyone else's world. You were designed to be a dancer, light on your feet, quick to laugh, easy to love, impossible to break. And that version of you, the one you thought was buried under years of disappointment and betrayal, she's not dead. She was just sleeping, waiting for permission to wake up. Permission granted. Your body is listening to your soul's restoration. Every cell is getting the memo. We're not surviving anymore. We're ascending. The stiffness in your joints melting. The fog in your brain clearing. The ache in your chest healing. The weight on your shoulders lifting. You're not aging. You're ascending. If you can feel something in your bones shifting, something loosening that's been tight for years, whisper this: I receive divine reversal. Say it like you mean it. Say it like your cells are listening. Say it like heaven is holding its breath, waiting for you to finally accept what's always been yours. Because the woman who walked into this moment, she's not the same woman who's about to walk out. You're being restored not just to who you were, but to who you were always meant to be before the world taught you that carrying everyone else's baggage was love, before you learned that shrinking yourself was kindness, before you forgot that your light was never meant to be dimmed. The reversal has already begun. Your body knows it, your spirit feels it, Now your mind just needs to catch up to what heaven has already set in motion. Have you ever wondered why they could hurt you, but never break you? Why they could touch your body, wound your heart, steal your peace, but something deep inside remained untouchable? Why, after everything they did, you're still here, still breathing, still believing, still hoping? Listen to me, chosen one. There's a reason for that. You've been carrying a question in your chest for years, maybe decades. It whispers in the 3 a.m. darkness when sleep won't come. It echoes in the hollow spaces where trust used to live. The question sounds like this: God, if you loved me, why did you let them get so close? You were the one who carried fire in a world built for ice, the one who loved with your whole chest while others loved with conditions. You gave your sacred spaces to people who tracked mud through your holy places. You opened your vault to thieves who stole everything except the one thing they couldn't touch: your identity. They had access to your tears, but not your testimony. They had access to your fears, but not your future. They had access to your past, but not your purpose. See, there's something happening in the spiritual realm that your enemies never understood. God didn't give them permission to destroy you. He gave them permission to reveal themselves. Every betrayal was a divine background check. Every abandonment was heaven's way of showing you who belonged in your next chapter and who didn't. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5. You think God was sleeping when they hurt you? Oh, beloved, He was taking notes. They fumbled your name, mispronounced your worth, forgot your value. But heaven never forgot your number. You've been speed dial in the throne room since before time began. While they were trying to erase you from their story, God was writing you into eternity. What if I told you that every person who wounded you was actually a contractor in disguise? What if their rejection was divine redirection? What if their abandonment was actually heaven clearing the room for something unprecedented? You felt their hands on your life, but you never felt their authority over your destiny. There's a difference between access and authority. Access is temporary. Authority is eternal. They had access to your season, but God holds authority over your story. Think about it. They could make you cry, but they couldn't make you quit. They could wound you, but they couldn't kill your calling. They could bruise your heart, but they couldn't break your spirit. Why? Because what God has marked as His own, no human hand can unmark. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That stirring in your chest. That's not anxiety, beloved. That's the sound of heaven's justice system activating. The same ones who tried to bury you are about to witness your resurrection. God allowed them to see you at your lowest, so they could testify of your highest. Every tear they caused, it's about to become testimony. Every wound they opened, it's about to become a well of healing for others. Every door they slammed in your face, God's about to kick it off the hinges and invite you through as the guest of honor. You see, there's something beautiful about divine reversal. It doesn't just restore what was stolen, it multiplies it. It doesn't just heal what was broken, it makes it stronger than before. Your enemies didn't just touch your life and walk away empty-handed. They left deposits of pain that are about to mature into supernatural gain. The very hands that hurt you are about to applaud your breakthrough. The very voices that cursed you are about to confess your calling. The very hearts that rejected you are about to witness what happens when heaven says, enough. But here's the part that will shock you. God's not doing this for revenge. He's doing it for revelation. Your rising isn't about making them pay, it's about making them pray. Your elevation isn't about proving them wrong, it's about proving God right. You were never the victim in this story, chosen one. You were the undercover agent. They thought they were writing your ending, but they were actually setting up your beginning. Every no they gave you was God's way of protecting you from a yes that would have settled you for less. Right now, in this very moment, the spiritual atmosphere around your name is shifting. The same people who whispered about your failures are about to witness your favor. The same ones who predicted your destruction are about to watch your construction. Your enemies got access to your seasons, but God maintained authority over your reason for being here. Do you feel that weight in your chest? That's not burden, beloved. That's the mantle settling, that heaviness you've been carrying. It's not depression, it's the weight of destiny. You've been pregnant with purpose for so long, you forgot you were carrying twins. Your breakthrough and their testimony. The mockers are about to become messengers. The doubters are about to become defenders. The ones who said never are about to say how. If you feel watched right now, if you sense eyes on your journey, judgment on your process, whispers about your progress, good. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them witness what happens when the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob decides to demonstrate his power through someone the world counted out. Declare this with me right now. Let them watch heaven do what they couldn't. Say it again, but this time with authority. Let them watch heaven do what they couldn't. One more time, but whisper it like a secret between you and eternity. Let them watch heaven do what they couldn't. You're not performing for them anymore, chosen one. You're not auditioning for their approval. You're not begging for their acceptance. You're simply becoming who God called you to be, and that terrifies the very people who thought they had the power to stop you. Your enemies had access to your pain, but they're about to witness your power. But there's something else stirring in the heavens right now. Something that will shock you more than their reversal of opinion. Something that will leave you speechless about the depth of God's strategy in your story. Have you ever wondered why your name echoes differently now? Why strangers pause when they hear it like they're trying to remember something sacred they've never known? What if I told you that while you've been invisible on earth, you've been headline news in heaven? You've been the one sitting in empty rooms, whispering prayers to walls that seemed deaf. The one whose phone never rang with the calls you needed. The one whose absence went unnoticed at family gatherings, whose birthday slipped by unmarked, whose achievements were celebrated in silence. But here's what you couldn't see, beloved. Your name has been spoken in boardrooms of angels, whispered in councils you've never entered, debated in heavenly chambers, where your destiny was being forged in fire you couldn't feel. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5 wasn't just scripture, it was your spiritual birth certificate. God didn't just know your name, He composed it. Each syllable handcrafted for the frequency of miracles. You've been obscure on earth but obvious in the spirit. While you were learning to survive rejection, heaven was learning to announce your arrival. While you were mastering the art of being forgotten, God was mastering the science of your remembering. Think about it. What if every door that slammed in your face was heaven redirecting traffic? What if every person who overlooked you was actually protecting the secret of your coming? What if your delay wasn't rejection but divine incubation? Listen to me carefully. Chosen one. The 1st of August wasn't just another sunrise. It was the moment heaven synchronized your name with a new frequency. The frequency of boldness, the frequency of blessing, the frequency of breakthrough that makes demons tremble and angels sing. Your name used to whisper. Now it thunders. Your name used to echo in empty spaces. Now it reverberates in realms of power. Your name used to be a memory. Now it's a movement. Pause. Breathe. Close your eyes for just a moment. Can you feel it? That vibration in your chest when someone speaks your name now. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. God has rewired the spiritual atmosphere around your identity. Every letter of your name carries voltage now. Every syllable pulses with purpose. When people say it, they're not just calling you, they're activating prophecy. You thought you were nameless, but you were never unnamed. You were being renamed. The old frequency of your name carried the static of survival. The new frequency carries the signal of sovereignty. People who used to forget you mid-conversation now find themselves thinking about you at 3 a.m. Former friends who discarded you are suddenly curious about what you're doing. Strangers feel compelled to help you for reasons they can't explain. That's not psychology. That's heaven adjusting the spiritual radio dial until your name broadcasts on God's frequency. But here's where it gets dangerous for the kingdom of darkness. Your name isn't just vibrating with purpose, it's vibrating with power. the kind of power that shifts atmospheres, the kind of power that breaks generational curses, the kind of power that resurrects dead dreams and calls forth miracles from thin air. The 1st of August was heaven's announcement. My chosen one is ready. Ready for what? Ready to carry a name that opens doors no human key can unlock. Ready to walk with an identity that makes impossibilities bow. Ready to speak with a voice that carries the echo of eternity. Your name has become a portal between the seen and unseen, between the possible and impossible, between what was and what's coming. But this comes with a warning, beloved. When heaven issues a new frequency for your name, hell takes notice. The enemy has been monitoring spiritual radio waves, and your signal just went from silent to symphony. The warfare you've been feeling, that's not punishment, that's proof. They're not attacking you because you're weak. They're attacking you because your name just became a weapon of mass construction in the spirit realm. Every time someone speaks your name now, it's like dropping heaven's coordinates into Earth's GPS. It's like giving angels your home address. It's like broadcasting to every demon in your zip code. The one marked by God lives here. That's why relationships are shifting. That's why opportunities are accelerating. That's why your very presence feels different to you and to everyone around you. Your name doesn't just identify you anymore, it prophesies over you. When you introduce yourself now, you're not just sharing information, you're releasing revelation. You're not just telling people who you are, you're showing them who God is becoming through you. The frequency of your name now carries asterisk, the sound of breakthrough, asterisk, the vibration of favor, asterisk, the echo of inheritance, asterisk, the resonance of restoration. If you feel your name vibrating with purpose, if you sense something shifting every time you hear it spoken, if strangers seem drawn to you for reasons beyond logic, say it aloud now. Your full name. Don't whisper it, declare it, not as information, but as activation, not as introduction, but as inauguration. Because when you speak your name with the new frequency heaven has given it, you're not just identifying yourself, you're announcing the arrival of everything God has been preparing to do through you. That's your confirmation. Chosen one. But before you step fully into the power of this new frequency, there's something else shifting that will shock you to your core. Have you ever wondered why the deepest cuts left the most beautiful scars? Why the fire that should have consumed you only made you luminous? Why every person who tried to dim your light ended up highlighting something they couldn't touch? Chosen one, look at your hands right now. Those aren't just fingers, they're lightning rods that have been struck by every storm heaven allowed. And you're still here, still breathing, still believing. You were the one who carried fire in a world built for ice. They called you too sensitive, too deep, too much. But what they labeled as weakness was actually your wiring for warfare. Every tear you cried in secret became a river of anointing. Every betrayal that broke your heart became a breakthrough in your spirit. Listen to me carefully. You didn't survive those storms by accident. You were refined by them. The Bible says it plainly. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Job 23:10. God wasn't punishing you, he was purifying you. Every fire you walked through wasn't meant to destroy you. It was designed to reveal you. That depression that tried to drown you, it became your depth. That rejection that tried to silence you, it became your voice. That abandonment that tried to isolate you, it became your authority to reach the forgotten. Every storm became your oil. Every betrayal became your blueprint. Right now, as I'm speaking these words, something is shifting in your cellular structure. Your DNA is remembering what heaven always knew about you. The trauma that aged you is being reversed. The stress that dimmed your eyes is lifting. The weight that bent your shoulders is evaporating. Your appearance is about to shift, beloved. Not because of creams or procedures, but because glory is rising from the inside out. Your eyes are clearing because your vision is aligning with heaven's view of you. Your face is lifting because the burden of shame is being removed. Your presence is becoming radiant because you're finally understanding you don't carry wounds anymore. You carry light. People are going to start asking you what's different. They'll study your face, trying to decode the transformation. They'll feel something shift in the atmosphere when you walk into a room, but they won't be able to explain it with earthly language. What if the delay wasn't rejection but divine incubation? What if your silence was sacred, not accidental? What if every closed door was actually heaven protecting you from settling for less than your destiny? Close your eyes for just a moment. Can you feel it? That warmth spreading through your chest? That's not just hope, that's heaven's confirmation that you've been promoted from survivor to overcomer, from victim to victor, from broken to blazing. The enemy thought he buried you, but he didn't know you were a seed, and seeds don't stay buried forever. They break through soil, they reach for sunlight, they become forests. You won't have to say a word. Your glow will prophesy. That person who betrayed you, they're going to look at you and feel conviction without you speaking. That family member who wrote you off, they're going to sense the presence of God on your life and wonder what they missed. That system that rejected you, it's going to reach out because it needs what you carry. You're not just healing, chosen one. You're becoming dangerous to darkness. Your very presence is going to make demons uncomfortable and angels rejoice. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts. When you speak, breakthrough happens. When you pray, heaven moves. This isn't about revenge. This is about resurrection. This isn't about proving them wrong. This is about letting God prove you right. The fire didn't consume you, it crowned you. The storm didn't destroy you, it developed you. The pressure didn't break you, it made you precious. Look in the mirror tonight. Really look. That person staring back at you isn't the same person who entered the fire. That's someone who has been kissed by flame and emerged with the fragrance of heaven. That's someone who has walked through hell and came back carrying keys. Your scars aren't marks of shame, they're marks of honor. Each one tells a story of a battle fought and won. Each one carries the DNA of a miracle. Each one is proof that what tried to kill you only made you stronger. You're about to glow with what tried to kill you. The rejection that once made you question your worth is now the authority that makes you unshakable. The betrayal that once made you doubt love is now the wisdom that helps you discern genuine hearts. The loss that once made you question God's goodness is now the testimony that proves His faithfulness. Every attack on your character became a building block for your calling. Every whisper behind your back became a witness to your breakthrough. Every door that slammed in your face was heaven, redirecting you to the right entrance. You're not the same person who walked into that storm. You're the person who was hidden inside the storm, waiting to be revealed. The fire didn't change you, it unveiled you. The pressure didn't transform you, it exposed who you always were underneath the layers of other people's opinions and expectations. Tonight, when you look in the mirror, I want you to see what heaven sees. I want you to recognize the glow that comes from divine fire. I want you to understand that you carry something now that can't be taught in schools or bought with money. You carry the light of the overcomer. If the fire didn't consume you, but refined you, if the storm didn't destroy you, but developed you, if the pressure didn't break you, but made you precious, then affirm it right now. Speak it over your life. Declare it over your future. Say it with me. I carry divine fire on my face. Because you do, chosen one. You absolutely do. And the world is about to see it. Have you ever wondered why some things in your life feel permanent, even when you've tried to change them? Why certain people can't seem to forget you, no matter how hard they try to erase your memory? What if I told you there's something written about you in a realm where human hands can't reach, where erasers don't work and delete buttons don't exist? You've spent years believing you were becoming something, becoming chosen, becoming worthy, becoming enough. But here's the sacred truth that's about to shatter every lie you've believed about yourself. You were never becoming the chosen one. You always were. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5. Before your first breath, before your first heartbreak, before your first disappointment, heaven had already pressed its seal into your spiritual DNA. What happened on the 1st of August wasn't God deciding to choose you. It was God revealing what he stamped in eternity before time began. You were the one who carried fire in a world built for ice, the one who spoke truth in rooms full of echoes, the one whose silence held more power than their loudest screams. And they hated it, because authenticity always threatens performance. Your presence convicted them of their pretense, and your peace exposed their panic. But what if the delay wasn't rejection but divine incubation? What if your isolation wasn't abandonment but sacred preparation? What if heaven was protecting something in you that couldn't survive in their toxic atmosphere? Listen carefully, chosen one. When God marks something, it becomes untouchable by human hands. When heaven stamps its approval, no earthly authority can revoke it, no betrayal can break it, no abandonment can erase it, no trauma can delete it. You've been walking around thinking people could unmark you, that their rejection could somehow cancel heaven's selection, that their opinion could overrule God's decision. But here's what you're about to understand. What God writes is written in permanent ink. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That stirring in your chest. That's not anxiety, beloved. That's recognition. Your soul is remembering what your mind forgot. The 1st of August wasn't your beginning. It was your revealing. Like a photograph developing in sacred solution, the image of who you've always been is finally coming into focus. The edges are sharpening. The colors are deepening. The truth is emerging. You didn't become marked on the 1st of August. You became aware of the mark. For years, you've been living under the weight of temporary people's permanent opinions. You've been letting seasonal voices speak over eternal verdicts. You've been allowing human timeouts to silence heaven's confirmation, but no more. What if your silence was sacred, not accidental? What if heaven orchestrated your obscurity to protect what was growing inside you? What if the very people who overlooked you were being used by God to guard his masterpiece until the appointed time? The confirmation you received on the 1st of August didn't make you chosen, it made you conscious. It didn't create your calling, it revealed it. It didn't start your purpose, it unveiled it. Think about it. A birth certificate doesn't create a person, it confirms they already exist. A diploma doesn't make you educated, it acknowledges the knowledge you've acquired. And the 1st of August? It didn't make you chosen. It publicly declared what heaven had whispered in private for decades. You are not a work in progress. You are a masterpiece being unveiled. The enemy has been trying to convince you that you're still auditioning for God's approval, still competing for his attention, still earning his love. But chosen one, the audition ended before it began. The competition was rigged in your favor. The love was decided in eternity. If you don't rise now, what part of the world stays in darkness? If you don't speak now, whose silence remains unbroken? If you don't step into your confirmation now, whose breakthrough stays delayed? Your time is not coming. Your time is here. Your season is not approaching. Your season has arrived. Your confirmation is not pending. Your confirmation is permanent. Listen, do you hear that? It's the sound of chains breaking, not physical chains, spiritual ones. The chains of doubt, the chains of delay, the chains of not yet. And maybe someday, and if I just prove myself a little more, every person who ever made you feel like you needed their approval to validate your worth, they were wrong. Every voice that whispered you weren't ready, weren't worthy, weren't enough, they were lying. Every system that tried to grade your calling, measure your purpose, or evaluate your destiny, they were unqualified. What God marks, no man can unmark. What heaven confirms, earth cannot cancel. What eternity stamps, time cannot erase. You've been asking God for confirmation while carrying his mark. You've been begging for a sign while wearing his signature. You've been praying for validation while holding his seal. The confirmation you've been seeking has been confirmation you've been carrying. The 1st of August wasn't about starting, it was about seeing. It wasn't about beginning, it was about believing. It wasn't about becoming, it was about recognizing. You are not becoming the chosen one, you always were. The 1st of August was the confirmation ceremony. The whispers that kept you up at night, those were prophecies preparing you for this moment. The dreams that felt too big for your current reality, those were blueprints of your true assignment. The pain that almost broke you, that was the pressure required to form the diamond that's now ready to shine. Your confirmation is irreversible because it was never reversible. It was established before the foundation of the world. It was decided in the council of heaven. It was sealed with divine authority. No one can take back what they never gave. No one can remove what they never placed. Your mark came from above. Your confirmation came from eternity. Your calling came from the one who speaks things into existence and watches them come to pass. The revelation you're experiencing right now, this knowing, this certainty, this unshakable confidence, this is what happens when temporary confusion meets permanent truth, when seasonal doubt encounters eternal decree, when human uncertainty faces divine certainty. If this whole message felt like it was written for your soul, if every word landed like a key turning in a lock you didn't know existed, if your spirit is vibrating with recognition right now, don't just say amen. Say this with the authority of someone who has just remembered who they've always been. I've been marked, and I accept my confirmation. Say it again, with conviction, with certainty, with the voice of someone who no longer questions their place in heaven's plan. I've been marked, and I accept my confirmation. Because what God marks, no man can unmark. And what you've just accepted, no force in hell can revoke. Have you ever wondered why people suddenly step back when you enter a room? Why conversations pause when you speak? Why even strangers seem to sense something different about you, something they can't name but can't ignore? What if I told you that the 1st of August didn't just mark you? It weaponized you? For decades, you were the one being drained. Every handshake was a transaction where you gave life and received emptiness. Every conversation left you hollow. You absorbed their pain, carried their burdens, and somehow always walked away lighter in spirit, not because you were free, but because you'd been emptied again. You were the human battery everyone plugged into when their own power ran low. But beloved, that season is over. The very hands that once trembled with insecurity now pulse with divine electricity. Your presence used to shrink in fear, apologizing for taking up space, dimming your light so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. You made yourself smaller so they could feel bigger. But now your shadow carries fire. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Every room you enter reacts to the frequency that sealed you on the 1st of August. It's not your imagination. It's not coincidence. It's consecration made visible. The same people who once dismissed you now find themselves studying your face when they think you're not looking. The ones who called you weak are suddenly asking for your prayers. The family members who labeled you too sensitive are now calling you when their world falls apart. Why? Because they can sense it. That voltage, that charge, that dangerous to darkness anointing that radiates from your skin like heat from summer pavement. Isaiah 54:17 whispers this truth over you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. But here's what the enemy didn't expect: you've become the weapon, not of destruction, but of divine disruption. Your touch is charged. Your silence is warfare. Your shadow is soaked in oil. Think about it. How many times in the past month have people reacted differently to you? How many times have you walked into a space and felt the atmosphere shift? How many conversations have stopped mid-sentence when you approached? That's not paranoia, beloved. That's power. The electrical field around your body has been recalibrated by heaven's hand. Scientists call it bioelectricity, the natural current that flows through every living thing. But what they can't measure is how God amplified your frequency on the 1st of August. You're no longer operating on human voltage. You're plugged into the same power grid that split the Red Sea. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That gentle buzz under your skin, that warmth in your chest that has nothing to do with room temperature. That's not anxiety, precious one. That's authority. The darkness recognizes you now. It knows you're no longer the wounded warrior limping through life. You're the healed weapon walking in heaven's jurisdiction. But here's what's beautiful about this transformation. You didn't have to fight for it. You didn't have to fast until you fainted or pray until your knees bled. God simply said, "Enough," and rewired your spiritual nervous system while you slept. The depression that used to drag you under now flees when you speak. The fear that used to paralyze you now trembles at your approach. The shame that used to define you now dissolves in your presence. You've become dangerous to everything that tried to destroy you. This is why certain people can't stand to be around you anymore. It's not because you've changed your personality, it's because your presence exposes what they've been hiding. Your light reveals their shadows. Your peace disrupts their chaos. They feel convicted without you saying a word. They feel naked without you looking at them sideways. Your very existence has become a mirror they can't bear to face. And that's not your problem to fix, beloved. That's their invitation to healing. Jeremiah 1:10 declares this over you. I have set you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. Your touch doesn't just heal, it exposes. It doesn't just comfort, it convicts. It doesn't just bless, it breaks every chain that shouldn't be there. The enemy spent years training people to drain you, use you, manipulate you. But God spent the 1st of August training your touch to heal, deliver, and set free. Every hand you shake now carries potential for breakthrough. Every hug you give transfers peace that passes understanding. Every surface you touch becomes sacred ground. You're not just walking through life anymore, chosen one. You're consecrating it. The oil that soaks your shadow, it's the same oil that anointed David as king while he was still a shepherd boy. It's the same oil that sealed Jesus for his mission. It's the same oil that turned ordinary fishermen into world changers. And now, it's yours. This is why you've been feeling different lately, why your prayers sound different in your own ears, why your words carry weight they've never carried before, why people hang on every sentence like you're speaking prophecy. Because you are. Your mouth has become heaven's microphone. Your hands have become God's healing instruments. Your feet have become carriers of good news to places that have never heard hope. But with great power comes great responsibility. The voltage you carry isn't for show, it's for service. The authority you've been given isn't for your ego, it's for His kingdom. Some will be drawn to your light like moths to flame. Others will flee from your presence like vampires from sunlight. Both reactions are confirmation that the transformation is real. If you can feel people reacting to you differently, if conversations shift when you enter the room, if even children and animals seem to sense something special about you, speak this declaration into the atmosphere. Everything I touch is under divine jurisdiction. Say it again. Everything I touch is under divine jurisdiction. Feel the power in those words. Feel the authority in your voice. Feel the electricity in your fingertips. You are no longer the victim of other people's darkness. You are the carrier of God's light. You are no longer the wounded healer. You are the dangerous to darkness weapon heaven has been preparing for such a time as this. But here's the mystery that will unlock everything if your touch has become this powerful. What has happened to your voice? Chosen one, as we close this sacred hour together, I want you to remember 3 eternal truths that heaven has written over your life. First, the 1st of August was not just another date. It was your divine confirmation ceremony. God didn't just mark you that day. He announced to all of heaven and earth that you are His chosen vessel, prepared for such a time as this. The abandonment you felt was actually divine appointment. The rejection was really protection. The delay was heaven's way of developing you for something unprecedented. Second, your touch has become dangerous to darkness because your heart has been sealed with heaven's authority. Every room you enter, every conversation you have, every person you encounter is now under the jurisdiction of the Most High God working through you. You are no longer the wounded warrior, you are the healed weapon. Third, your tears were time-stamped, but your breakthrough is now date-stamped. Everything that tried to destroy you has become the foundation for your destiny. The very people who discarded you will soon witness your elevation, not because you fought back, but because heaven fought for you. You are not alone in this journey, beloved. There's an entire community of chosen ones who understand your story because they've lived it too. They know what it feels like to be overlooked, abandoned, and counted out. but they also know what it feels like when God shows up and shows out on your behalf. Right here in this comment section, there are spiritual family members ready to stand with you in prayer. They're ready to celebrate your breakthrough and intercede for your healing. This isn't just a YouTube channel, this is a gathering place for heaven's marked ones. But before we close, I need to ask you something that will determine how you walk forward from this moment. Now that you know you've been marked by heaven, confirmed by God, and sealed for this hour, what are you going to do with this divine authorization? Will you step into the rooms you've been avoiding? Will you speak the words you've been withholding? Will you finally embrace the calling you've been running from? The world is waiting for what God has placed inside you. And after today, you can never again say you didn't know who you were. Let me pray with you now. Father God, I come before your throne on behalf of every chosen one hearing my voice. Lord, you see them. You know their names. You've counted their tears and catalogued their pain. Today, I ask you to let them feel your hand on their shoulder, your breath on their neck, your whisper in their heart. God, confirm in their spirit what you've confirmed in heaven, that they are marked, chosen, set apart for your glory. Let every doubt dissolve. Let every fear flee. Let every lie be silenced by the sound of your voice calling them beloved. Father, open doors that no man can shut. Restore relationships that were meant to be healed. Provide resources for the assignments you've given them. Let their touch carry your healing power. Let their words carry your prophetic authority. Let their presence shift atmospheres and change climates. And Lord, for those who are still wounded, still bleeding, still questioning, if you really see them, wrap them in your arms right now. Let them feel your love like a warm blanket on a cold night. Remind them that their story isn't over. Remind them that their best chapters are still being written. Bless their finances, God. Bless their families. Bless their health. Bless their minds with peace that passes understanding. Let them sleep tonight knowing they are covered, protected, and favored by the Creator of the universe. In the mighty name of Jesus, I declare that everything that was meant for their harm is now working for their good. Every setback is setting them up for a comeback. Every test is becoming a testimony. Every mess is becoming a message. Seal this word in their hearts, Lord. Let it take root and bear fruit in their lives. And let them never forget they are marked by you, and nothing can change that. In Jesus' powerful name, Amen.